Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OTH MMA podcast. Today is Sunday, May 9th, 2021. I am Dante Analysis, aka Gregory Dorvil, and here joining me is fellow writers for OTH MMA, Danny Podolsky and Leo Johnson. Thanks for coming, guys.
No worries. What's up? How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Thanks for looking up. Quite a night of fights last night, so I'm ready to discuss it with you guys. So before I do, introduce yourselves. Danny, you go first.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Just big MMA fan, long time writer for Overtime Heroics. I've been here for a couple of years. You can follow me on Twitter at Podolsky Danny, but totally excited to get this one going.
All right. And Leo?
Leo Johnson, writer for Overtime Heroics MMA. I've been here since January, been watching MMA almost 8 years now. Best sport alive. You can follow me on Twitter at Leo J Johnson 20.
All right. And for anyone who's listening to me, you can follow me at the Dante Man, at Dante Analysis on Twitter, and Dante Analysis on Instagram. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's discuss what happened last night. So quite a night of fights with MMA and also with boxing. We can talk a little bit about the Billy Joe Saunders and Alvarez fight. What did you guys think of it?
I actually didn't get round to it. I heard the result was a TKO win for Canelo.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Billy Joe Saunders quit on his stool due to an orbital fracture.
Yeah.
So I think they'll probably run it back, maybe. I don't know.
I think they will. I think it was around the 7th and 8th round that the injury became really prolific. That's what I saw. Yeah, and he was trying to play it off by I guess showboating, but Canelo saw right through it, and he was rallying up the crowd up to that point. So I think that's where that's the tables were turned. Danny, did you capture it a little bit?
I did not get to watch it, but I mean, I'll say like I think Canelo. I'm not big with like boxing, not my top sport, but I think he's on top of the world right now. He looks so unstoppable.
Yeah.
So I mean they could run it back, but I feel like if you kind of stop fighting, and I'm not trying to question anyone's toughness, but if you stop fighting like that, it's kind of tough to get that rematch.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Especially like with I guess losses meaning so much on your record. Like if you were to have that, it's pretty hard to do that. I mean, Triple G is finding it hard to get that rematch, even as prolific as he is. So yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I said Triple G, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. Now on to MMA. I did like the fights as much as I thought I did, and it exceeded expectations, especially with Michelle Waterson making her flyweight debut on short notice. So I guess what did you think of the main event?
I thought.
Oh, sorry,
go ahead.
Danny.
So I thought going into it, I thought Rodriguez definitely had the advantage. You know, the pressure. We know Waterson measures her jab almost too much, so she doesn't really close the distance early enough. And it was really evident in that fight because she didn't really start, landing big shots until the 4th and 5th round. And I feel like that was probably the biggest part of Rodriguez's game plan, is to push the pressure in the first 3 rounds. She did get caught, I believe, in the 5th by a really big head kick, but it didn't seem to phase her in the overall scheme of things. So, yeah.
Okay.
I thought Marina Rodriguez looked really good, especially in the first 3 rounds. The 4th round, I think she got taken down and kind of out wrestled. In the 5th round, she got caught with that head kick. But I had it as a clear 48-47 for Rodriguez. I feel like the UFC does a really poor job of promoting her. All the talk coming in this week was about Michelle Waterson, and I thought Rodriguez was the clear favorite and just clearly the better fighter. And she needs a couple more wins, but I can see her in the title picture. With Waterson, I don't see as much. I think Waterson does some good things. She's flashy. She's the company woman, but I think Rodriguez is the much better fighter. I'd love to see her fight Mackenzie Dern.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Mackenzie Dern will be the next company sweetheart, especially how they hyped her up. Uh, yeah, and we'll see how she does. Well, uh, and now that Mackenzie Dern is like cleaning up her striking, it's gonna be. Oh no, she's in strawweight, so never mind that. Uh, with between her and Michelle Waterson.
I think that the fight's going to be at it's a strawweight bout. It'll affect the strawweight rankings. I think they did it at flyweight to help them with the cut because it's a short notice fight. But I think that both women are still at flyweight, or sorry, still at strawweight.
Yeah. Okay. All right, that's good. All right, so yeah, I think between that, even though Michelle Waterson is the more seasoned striker, I mean Mackenzie Dern, I think she's bringing a little bit more power to that striking matchup if that a matchup were to happen, especially when she did that looping chopping right or so chopping left to ABC Cooper. So that's where I'm coming from with that. And now for any fights that were like the highlight of the card besides the main event. I did like the striking exchanges between Neil Magny and Jeff Neal. That was one that was I guess the big highlight, and it was especially a good win for Neil Magny. I think they were using Jeff Neal to uh, I guess to promote him and use Neil Magny to as a stepping stone for him. But Neil Magny held his own, which was nice.
I thought Neil Magny did a great job. He was the one pushing the pressure. I think Jeff Neal, as expected, landed the bigger strikes, but I think probably the numbers, but I guess Magny outstruck him 2-1. I thought he very clearly won that, and I think I'd love to see that Hamzat matchup. I think it would make a lot of sense. It'd be a big fight for him, probably a main event. Yeah. So I mean, I'd love to get your guys' thoughts on that fight.
Definitely, I feel if Hamzat is who he says he is, this big, dominant welterweight that he wants to be, or middleweight, wherever he chooses to fight, I feel like a winner over Magny, he can take anyone apart from the champion from then on. I feel like he needs one more win after beating Magny for him to face the champion. Maybe it doesn't make sense in a rankings way, but I feel like there is some sort of superstardom that the company wants to promote him with. So a win over Magny does it all for him, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here. And I think now his fighting streak is at four fight win streak for Magny. So I think he can call for that, especially if
he lost to in his last fight. So I think it's like 4 or 5.
Right. Okay. 4 or 5. So yeah, I think he can call for that if Hamzat wants to return. I'm trying to remember if Hamzat called for a specific opponent or if they picked out an opponent for him for his return, because I know he's returning on in June.
I don't think there's a name. I think they did tease Nick Diaz, but the management for Nick said they didn't want anything to do with it. They're focusing on Nate first with the Edwards match, and then they'll see where Nick goes.
Right. All right. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So yeah, and to talk about I just feel really bad about Donald Cerrone and how he went out against Alex Morono. Yeah, it was a tough one. I mean, he's a slugger. We all know that he is, but yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, I thought this is kind of a coming out party for Morono. Morono's had some really good performances in the past. I think he beat what's his name, Max Griffin. That was his best win, but then lost to Pettis, which kind of set him back, and then got knocked out quickly by Chaos Williams. I think beating Donald Cerrone, this is easily the biggest win of his career. I could see him getting a ranked opponent. I could also see him getting someone just outside the rankings. Mm-hmm. But in terms of Donald, I don't think they're going to cut him because he keeps saying he wants to go back to 155 and that he was only doing the 170 because they want him to fight Diego. So I personally think that the UFC will give him a fight at 155. If he loses that fight, he's probably gone.
Yeah, I agree. I feel Morono in the Pettis fight was Alex Morono in the first round. He pushed the pressure. He did everything he wanted to do. And in the second round, he didn't change anything. And obviously game plans, they do work, but sometimes you have to make the little adjustments in between rounds. And I don't think Morono did that. I feel like Morono came into this fight knowing that we'd have a little bit more of an emotional Cowboy, especially with the anger he had towards Diego Sanchez. And I feel like that was a big change for Cowboy, having Diego on his mind for so long, all this stuff with Joshua Fabia, and then all of a sudden, a week's notice, it's all changed. So I feel like that definitely played a part into it. But we know Cowboy's a seasoned striker. We know that he can stand with, the best of the best in solid striking exchanges. So I was really surprised to see that, like, Morono was coming over his guard with ease, really. I didn't see much fatigue in Morono at all. So it was a really, really good performance.
Yeah, I agree all around. So yeah, he'll be. I guess he can use this to move forward. I'd like to see where he takes it. As for Cerrone, I mean, he hops up between 55 and 170, so I don't know what he's going to do there. So yeah, that's that's the case on that side. It is what it is. And now for moving forward, I like seeing Anthony Rumble Johnson finally coming back and getting the TKO victory that people thought he would. He looked really good there, and it didn't seem like he was any different from what he was after the Cormier fight.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting fight. It was he looked the exact same where he got caught in that first round. He almost got finished, and then second round came out and landed an absolute bomb. I thought with Rumble, I thought a lot of the question would be with his cardio, and we didn't see him have to go into the deep rounds. I think against Vadim Nemkov, he'll have to probably go to the deep waters. I don't think he can just go in and blitz him and knock him out like that. So we'll see how his cardio holds up. He says after retiring, he got up as high as 280, and he's now back at 205. So you kind of wonder what shape he's in, but he looked. I want to say he looked great because he probably lost the first round of that fight, but then the power is still there clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead, Leo.
I feel we saw a lot more of a real Anthony Johnson. I feel like when we think of Anthony Johnson in the prime of his career, he's this unbeatable force that got all the way to the top, and then he just couldn't beat the best guy. But seeing him hurt, I feel like that addresses a lot of things for Johnson. As he said, his mentality going into that fight was he's just going to knock him out. I feel like him getting hurt makes his approach to his next fight moving forward in the Grand Prix a lot more smarter approach, cardio-wise, just being able to contain that power until he really needs to unload it and not pushing the pressure to a point where, he's hands down because he's got his opponents hurt. I feel like he needs to take a more controlled approach to these finishes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good to see Anthony Johnson in the right headspace. Yeah, between him wanting to go out and start something else because he said that fighting is what he's good at, but he didn't want to do it and he wanted to start his marijuana business, and now to going to a Bellator with better spirits. It's interesting to see what he'll become, especially now that Bellator is paying him well or comparatively better to UFC. Yeah, because I saw an article from Kamaru Usman telling that I think it was his cousin or his brother or his teammate to go to PFL for more money or any other promotion to make more money. Yeah, if he's happy because of that, yeah, good for him. And he'll possibly face Yoel Romero in the future. So if he is able to perform with that fight, I mean, I think that'll be the best thing for him. And I think he'll be the favorite going into the final round if he gets there, and he'll probably win the championship. I think. Okay, so now we can look towards UFC 262. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one just because there's a redemption arc for Tony Ferguson to see if he can get on the up and up again. I'm really pulling for him because, yeah, I mean, between that one decision not to take that interim championship fight again, I think it was against Dustin Poirier, and then offer it to all falter and be taken by Max Holloway. I think it's that one one fork in the road in time where if had he taken that chance and won, he would be facing Habib, but that's all what ifs. But I always think back at that one decision he made because he felt like he didn't lose the interim championship fight, so why the championship title? So why does he have to fight in that interim championship fight again? But that's that's life. So I guess what will you guys be looking forward to in the upcoming UFC card?
I think the fight that jumps out to me the most is definitely Tony versus Beneil Dariush. I think I've always been a huge fan of both guys. So that's the one. It does kind of suck for me that one guy has to lose. But in terms of Beneil, he's coming off a big win. I think split decision against Diego Ferreira. This is the biggest fight of his career. If he wins this fight, I don't think he'll get a title fight because of how clustered it is at the top of 155. I think if he wins that fight, he's right there in the talks for a title shot. If Tony wins the fight, he's still there. And, it's kind of tough. He should have gotten his fight with Khabib so many times, but he didn't. And I think I would love to see Tony get a title shot. Because, we talk about best fighters to never become a champion. I know he won interim, but if we're not including interim, like, Tony is right there. Yeah. He won 12 straight and then, cut weight the second time we didn't have to fight Justin Gaethje. He could have just waited it out and fought Khabib. But he wanted to do it for the fans, fought Gaethje. That was a great fight. Gaethje was able to just put it together in the 5th round. Yeah. And then, he looked bad against Oliveira. But I think Tony, Tony's still there. I know he's getting older, but you also can't just overlook Tony first. It's still Tony first.
Right.
So that's the fight I'm most looking forward to. I would also put out if either Chandler or Oliveira, if something happens, one guy misses weight, I would love to see Tony get the title shot. Even if it is against Oliveira, that wouldn't make too much sense running that back because of how bad Oliveira beat him. But I'll throw that out there. I'd love to see Tony get a title shot if something happens to either guy.
Yeah, that's a good point that you brought up. Like if that were to happen, like if someone missed weight or someone had to pull out because of injury, I think Tony is that type of guy. I think he would be audacious enough to go the extra mile to lose the weight and also show up for fight night. And I think it's then that he'll be able to grab that championship belt since Habib is retired. Connor's is gonna have that match with Poirier in the rubber match. So yeah, it's kind of like a clear shot. He's going to be facing either Oliveira or Chandler, so it's not an easy win either way. But I think this is going to be a good chance for him because it's a clean slate, relatively.
Yeah, and I feel like, so I definitely agree. I feel like Ferguson versus Dariush is the most anticipated fight on this card. Actually, I do believe it is more anticipated than Oliveira versus Chandler, just because I feel like not many people are really sure where Chandler's at. He beat Dan Hooker very impressively, but when you look back at the last few fights of his Bellator career, it was a bit, it wasn't amazing, right. But he came into UFC. He's shown he's worth it. I feel like people might be overlooking him just because he's fought once, albeit it was a top contender. Mm-hmm. But I feel like people will think Oliveira, seasoned veteran. I feel like it's easier to pick him in this fight, with the knowledge of UFC fans, not just MMA fans, UFC fans.
Right.
I feel like the winner of Ferguson versus Dariush, or even the loser, could face Dan Hooker next. Mm-hmm. I feel like it benefits either one. If you're a loser, you face Dan Hooker. If you beat Dan Hooker, you're straight back in the title picture. Yeah. If you win this fight, you face Dan Hooker, you're in the title picture. And like you said, Danny, I feel like whoever wins this fight, they are already up there. But with the cluster at the top of the division, I feel like that makes the most sense for either guy.
Mm-hmm. The other fight I want to throw out there, I think my prediction to win fight of the night is it's fight between Shane Burgess and Edson Barboza. Yeah. That's going to be fireworks. That is that cannot be a boring fight. It doesn't have the capability. Both guys have never been a boring fight. Burgess is coming off one of the best fights of the year, almost a year ago against Josh Emmett. Edson Barboza is explosive. He has all these wheel kicks. Both guys never been in a boring fight. That fight should be insane.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that too because, man, I think it's one of the best things and worst things about Burgos. yeah, he's really all in. He's like that kind of like Mexican style of fighting, but that's gotten him in trouble and more than once, where he kind of stays within the pocket without putting his guard up, and that's got him caught a few times. I think he'll either clean it up or just be a little bit smarter about that and still maintain that type of fighting stance. We'll have to see. Now, as for Edson Barboza, uh, yeah, I don't know if he's keeping the same type of power. At least I've noticed that he had in a feather in lightweight. It's noticeably, I guess, either the speed is not there or the power is not there. I think we'll have to see if he can keep it over the Burgos, because Burgos can bang. He can knock people out. He's capable of doing that. So I don't. I just want to see the questions answered about Barboza. So any thoughts about that, or we can?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like with Burgos, you have this almost Nate Diaz like pressure. He's gonna walk you down. If you're walking him down, he's gonna stand in the middle with you and he's gonna throw. He may change a bit after the Emmett fight, like you said. He got hurt in that fight, but that didn't come without success from Burgos. He hurt Emmett. If I remember correctly, he buckled Emmett's leg in the first round.
Yes.
Yeah, and so he's got power everywhere. It's not just in his hands. It's not the relentless pressure. He can grapple if he wants to. I feel like he won't against Barboza. I do feel like Burgos is like a people's fighter. He will put on a show for the fans, whether that costs him the fight. Barboza, I'm not really sure where he is. You know, I feel like he had a controversial decision loss to Dan Ige, and then has he fought since? I can't remember.
I do remember it with a recent win. Yes. And he's gonna fight again soon. I think in the summer. So yeah, he's been busy.
Yeah. I feel like you said, there is either a power or speed. Something along those lines that has decreased with Barboza moving down. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe it's something to do with these natural featherweights. We know Barboza is a natural lightweight.
Yeah.
I feel cutting that extra weight, it's like him wanting to be the biggest guy at that division, knowing that he's got the experience against guys like Tony Ferguson, everyone like that comes down into the featherweight division. I feel like it is a good choice for him. I didn't see why he did that at first, but I'm excited to see more as he, finishes his last few fights in his contract.
Yes. Yeah, and now moving forward with middleweight. I like, now speaking of another redemption fight, Edmund Shabazian. I want to see him, I guess, get on the up and up again. His fight with Derek Brunson showed that he still has work to do, but he's young. He's like really young, and man, he's going to have to against Hermansson, because Hermansson, I mean, I was amazingly impressed with his win over Kelvin Gastelum and how he got that heel hook. If Shabazian can clean up his grappling, or at least his defense, I think he can put up a good fight. But yeah, it's going to be a big fight.
Yeah, definitely. Shabazian has this like offensive lateral movement where he'll push his opponent against the cage and there is no escape for them. I feel like Hermansson's grappling gives him an advantage. He can clinch, twist things around. He gets back to the center and he can strike. There is a lot of highlights in Hermansson's grappling, but he can strike. And I don't think he'll be afraid to with Shabazian. I feel like Edmund will try and pick him apart, leg kicks, body kicks, just maintain the distance for the first 2 rounds. I feel like we'll get the fight we want to see in the third, depending on who pushes the pressure first, really.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a great matchup for Shabazian, in that, Hermansson's a good wrestler, but I think in terms of striking, he has a clear advantage. And we saw it in the last Vittori fight, where Hermansson kind of struggles against other wrestlers. I think he's better against strikers. Like he beat Kelvin Gastelum. That was a big win for him. But I like this one for Shabazian. I feel like if his wrestling's improved, he'll be able to keep the fight standing. And I think I like this matchup. It'll be a big win for him too, because he was on the rise and then Brunson kind of stopped him. But I think if he can get this one, that'll put him right back up there.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Completely agree. And yeah, I like to see him. I guess stand and bang with the likes of Gastelum, Whitaker. And when you told me about that lateral movement where he puts people against the cage, that reminded me of Paulo Costa. Well, the way he did the same, did the same thing with his opponents. He couldn't do it as well with Adesanya, but I like to see, I guess, that clash of styles if they were to go against each other. Could one do the same to each other? And if so, if it's just going to be like a Hulk versus Abomination where they just meet each other in the ring, in the octagon, and just, I guess, just do the same thing to each other. Yeah, and will it be just another Romero versus Costa, hopefully. But yeah, I'll be looking forward to that if that were to happen. Should he win? Uh, Now, I guess a few of the early prelims I'm really looking forward to. Uh, uh, Ronaldo Souza, Jacare is going to be trying to get a win back against Andre Munoz. Yeah, especially after that win, that loss to Kevin Holland, that was a pretty rough one. So I like to see how he'll bounce against that one. And another sleeper on this one is Lando Venata. He's a pretty scrappy featherweight, and he'll be fighting against Mike Grundy, which will be it'll be a tough one. So, any fights that you'll be looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm always looking forward to Anthony Shevchenko. I'd love to see her make. I would love to see her make a run and have a Shevchenko title. I know she's not up there and she's not at Valentina's level, but that would be awesome. She could string together some wins.
Will they allow that? I wonder. Like, I know they're sisters, but I mean, I guess she's just going to be like a volunteer gatekeeper. Just if you want to face my sister, you got to face me or something like that. So I don't know how that's going to work. What do you think, Leo?
I don't think there's any reason that they couldn't do it. Like, it really just comes down to do the Shevchenkos want to fight each other. Like,
True.
Yeah.
Logistically, the UFC would 100% put that fight together. Like, I've always said, I'd love to see Nate and Nick Diaz fight.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, yeah, promotional wise, that is such a outrageous fight. Like,
Yeah.
you throw like some family issues into a title fight. It's not even family issues. They're nice, they are really friendly sisters. But
Right.
there is some sort of like competition between siblings. There always is. I have a brother. Me and him, we're competitive together. We always will be, and that's just the way that brothers are. And I imagine it's the same with them sisters. I imagine in the gym they go hard at each other. So yeah, I actually do. I love that fight, and if it did come, I'm not sure whether it would. I'm not sure whether the sisters themselves would accept it, but I do love that fight.
Yeah, I mean, from what I see from like MMA personalities, they're like a little bit, I guess, on the cordial side, like them being sisters. I think it was Valentina that brought her in, like under her wing to improve. So I don't know. Well, we'll see how that goes. That'll be that's an interesting and funny matchup if that were to happen. And if that's the case, I think I will put it on Valentina. I mean, she's just so snappy. But yeah, that's just me. Uh, Now for anything else you guys want to cover, MMA wise, combat sports wise. I mean, that whole fiasco with Logan Paul and Mayweather, I didn't even want to get into because I don't know what's gonna become of that. It's just a circus. But yeah, that's me.
Easy. I don't know how Logan and Jake Paul, some YouTube brothers, they're successful. Good for them. But how they've got under Floyd Mayweather's skin, and then there's Conor McGregor standing in, a promotional ring and on a stage, shouting at him, patting his head and everything, and there's not even like a sense of like provocation.
Provocation?
Yes. There's none of that, and I feel like to let two young adults under your skin in over 50 fights in your career. I'm sure I'm not 100% aware on Floyd's career. I know he's undefeated. I know he's faced big names, but in build-ups of boxing fights, I don't really keep up with it. So I feel like to let two young adults with 3 boxing matches and none of them being against professionals, how you can let that get under your skin, it seems it seems a bit too much. I feel like there is some sort of promotion with that. Like, I don't think it's 100% legit.
Yeah, I was gonna argue that maybe it's like it's a work, that maybe this is all just because they know that they have, yeah, they have a fan base. He has a fan base, and like see them like go lash out like that. Now there's others people saying that maybe Floyd wasn't sure what he's getting into, like with this kind of promotion, because this is YouTube. This is YouTube promotion. This is he's going into their world. It's random, and they're well, at least Logan was from Vine, and you can see all the random entertainment values that they had at Vine when it was there. Now it's going to be TikTok, but yeah, I mean, it's a completely different world from what that Connor was in, or what Floyd was in, because at least with Connor, he was in combat sports, so he knows how to like be a promoter in a combat sport. Logan and Jake they're entertainers. I mean, this is what they do. I mean, all of this kind of like rocket stuff. I mean, this is what they're used to, and I don't think Floyd is like really adjusted to that kind of I guess weird style. I mean, despite how he was when he was being Money Mayweather. So I don't know, and especially at his age. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Oh, what do you think, Danny?
Yeah, I think in terms of with the Connor stuff, like Floyd knew what he was getting. Like Floyd was being paid to sit there and whatever. But then with like Jake Paul just goes in and just takes his hat. Jake Paul does not care.
Yeah, he does.
I hate the attention he's getting. Like I feel like
Yeah,
the fact that we're sitting here talking about it is part of the issue. Like
yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Like it's interesting. Like it is interesting, but I wish we could just talk about like the legitimate fighters instead of like Floyd Mayweather, and Jake Paul. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like you see these people who have watched, the big fights. Like, I hate using the word casual, but like a casual fan who comes into a sport and breaks down like a fight, and they try their best to go into detail, and it doesn't work. And I feel like Jake Paul, because he's competed against an NBA athlete and a retired MMA fighter who only really wrestled and then got 2 hip surgeries, I believe, before coming into that boxing match. Yeah. I don't feel like you can come into this game and have that much attention, but it's the YouTube world is just, it's crazy. The way those guys have picked themselves up from Disney Channel, I believe, to come all this way to fighting Floyd Mayweather. It's crazy. It really is. And like you say, Danny, I wish we didn't give them the attention, but it's, it's combat sports. Whatever's exciting is exciting, and somehow that is.
But yeah, I talked about it in like a long while on my show with a few other people, with other MMA personalities, and we were talking about like the future of like how people like get in, like how to get butts into seats. Like this is like just a trend of like YouTube personalities now entering the ring. Now, in the future of combat sports, it's just this battle of like this stoic a fighter respecting the system. Like you fight on the rankings, then you can face the championship. But now, I guess as a way of keeping combat sports alive, I mean, and boxing alive specifically, this is kind of needed. But I think it's like more of a supplementary solution. I don't know if this is going to be the go-to, because I don't know how long this kind of I guess outrageous circusry can last. And I think I think it's more like a short-term thing, but for a long-term thing, I don't know how that's going to go. So I guess like we can use this as an example, but observe it like within its own sphere. But in the long run, I think maybe this is, I don't know how that's going to sustain.
So I unfortunately gotta hop off just because I had some stuff to get to. But Thank you guys so much for having me. I'm always down to talk MMA. This is awesome. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for coming. And I think that's kind of like the end of our show anyway. So yeah, from me, Dante Analysis, Danny, and Leo Johnson, thanks for coming by. So for those who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in to the OTH MMA podcast. We'll see you next time.